What is going on, trainers? DrumVillain here, bringing you some more Pokemon Go PvP content, and today we're taking a look at a Master League Premier Classic team. These cup names are getting out of hand, they're getting far too long to say in one breath, in a sentence, in an intro. But yeah, this is the Master League Premier Classic, which means that all XL Pokemon are banned. So if you're under level 40, you've only got Pokemon at level 40 you have access to XL candies, this is an ideal cup for you. And also legendary Pokemon are banned, so you can make use of those hard meta picks like Metagross, Togekiss, Dragonite, Garchomp, things like that. A lot of Pokemon that kind of get overshadowed by the legendary Pokemon in the regular Master League. Now, this team has been performing stupidly well for me. I've actually climbed over 250 points in one day with this team. I tanked really badly in Ultra League in the last week of it. I was struggling to find a team that worked. I was trying to find something spicy to show you guys, and then even when I tried to switch back to hard meta, I was getting hard countered and just couldn't put it together. So as of yesterday morning, I was 2850 rating roughly, as you can see from this matchup here. And then by the end of the day, by the time I'd finished the sets, I was at 2840, 2850. So around 260 points-ish gained. Absolutely bananas for one day's worth of battles. I haven't had a negative set yet with this team. I'm hoping I might be able to make the push to Legend, possibly with this team, but I'll have to let you guys know how that goes in the next video. Now, initially, I thought about running Excadril on the lead, and apparently so did everybody else. I think Excadril is the most common lead that I'm seeing right now, close to Legend rank. And I guess it makes sense to run it because it hard counters Togekiss, it shuts down Dragonite, it shuts down Metagross. It's a very strong core breaker that messes up a lot of teams and creates a lot of problems for a lot of people and deals with a lot of the common leads very well. But at the minute I was finding there are a lot of Excadril mirror matches, so I thought I'm going to go for something that's going to go outside the box, that's going to beat Excadril and that's going to beat Metagross. So I decided to finally build myself a Haxorus. Now, I've been holding off evolving a Haxorus. I've lucky traded a lot of Axews to try and get ideally 100%, but the best we've got is this 96, which is only 13 attack, which doesn't make the biggest difference. Obviously it matters in the mirror match for winning CMP tie, but generally in situations where Haxorus is going to win CMP tie, it's going to win anyway, regardless of having that 15 attack. And honestly, it has performed just fantastically for me without that 15 attack. And we're pairing Haxorus up with Snorlax on the safe swap. Snorlax is one of the strongest safe swaps in the Master League. It's fantastically versatile, does pretty well against the Dragons, against Gyarados, against Togekiss. It holds its own against Metagross. So a very solid safe swap because there aren't that many fighters and counter users running around. They are there, and you can run into them, but Snorlax can still put in a lot of work even against those because it's got such ridiculous bulk, and having Body Slam and Superpower is a very threatening moveset to a lot of Pokemon. And then in the back, we've got our own Metagross. We love Metagross. He's our favourite boy, one of my favourite Pokemon. I love when Master Premier comes around and I have an excuse to use it. I have quite a few 100% IV Metagross. I have a Purified Hundo. I have a Shadow 98 that's level 50, and I've got I think 2 other regular 100% Metagrosses that are maxed out, all with Meteor Mash. I do like the Pokemon. We are running Meteor Mash and Earthquake on the Metagross for this team, and it is a 100% and it is best budded. And we thought about running Psychic to deal with Gyarados, but it doesn't really make that much difference. Like, Psychic's not going to one-shot a Gyarados anyway, and by the time you get to 2 Meteor Mashes, that second Meteor Mash is going to be threatening pretty heavily anyway. So it doesn't really help flip that matchup. It's only really once shields are down, or if you've got a massive energy advantage or something, that you're going to be able to use Psychic to flip that around, and Earthquake's going to come in handy a lot more often, such as in the Metagross mirror match, or against if you need to one-shot an Excadril, or Magnezone or anything like that. So I do recommend you stick with Earthquake. Snorlax, as we said, Body Slam and Superpower, fantastic. And Haxorus has the most broken moveset in Counter, Dragon Claw and Night Slash. No bait moves here. they're both cheap moves, they're both strong moves because Haxorus has such a strong attack stat. The Night Slash hits Metagross super hard, the Dragon Claw hits Dragonites and Garchomps super hard. If you're against something like an Excadril or a Magnezone, the counters chip away so fast, and the neutral damage from the Night Slash accents it really well as having that chance to boost your attack 2 stages and let it get out of control. So if you're enjoying the content, you're enjoying the teams, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that amazing stuff to feed the algorithm gods for me. And let's look at some battles and some strats. Now, a common lead I was seeing was Mamoswine. There were quite a lot of Mamoswine leads. I think people were struggling to deal with the Excadrils and the Togekiss. And Mamoswine's got some nice gameplay in the Master Premier. It's not the hardest meta pick, but the Avalanche will absolutely annihilate the Dragons, and the Bulldoze will do massive damage to a Metagross. So it does do pretty well. But with Haxorus, it's actually quite a good matchup for you because you're hitting them for super effective with the counter. Their Powder Snow is more about energy than it is damage, so it doesn't add up that fast, and you outpace them to charge moves. So you pressure shields out of them first, and you can farm them down first, I do believe, in the long run. So I like staying in with Haxorus, chipping them down. Oftentimes I'll get a shield, and if they shield, I'll shield back, and then see what they've got in the back. A lot of the times, if a Mamoswine stays in, they're quite weak to Haxorus in the back. Now, I do think Metagross is worth running. There are a lot of anti-Metagross teams out there. There are a lot of people running teams specifically designed to take down Metagross, where all 3 Pokemon on the team beat Metagross. And that sounds super scary to then run a Metagross, but honestly, Metagross still does super well in most matchups, even against most of its hardest counters. I think the only Pokemon it really struggles to put in work against is probably Excadril and Swampert. Against Gyarados, especially if it's a Dragon Breath Gyarados, you can put in a lot of work with the Meteor Mashers. Against a lot of picks that you're going to see coming in against it, you can still just threaten. Metagross win, and if you're up a shield, Metagross beats almost everything in the Master League Premier meta. It's just so disgustingly broken. If you have one, I recommend you use it, but you do need that Meteor Mash. It's such a good move. Now, the current battles I'm showing you are actually in order. They are back-to-back battles. So yes, I did actually see this many Mamoswines in a row. Like, they're just everywhere. And having Haxorus is such an amazing pick, especially with the influx of Mamoswines and Excadrils to the lead. It scares off a lot of the Togekiss leads, which means Haxorus doesn't have much to fear. It does very well against most things in the meta and only really has to be scared of Charmers. And Dragon Breath users will chip it down pretty fast. If it gets locked against a Garchomp with Dragon Tail, you're gonna take a lot of damage from that. But also you are threatening quite heavily with the Dragon Claw back. It won't one-shot, but it'll get them pretty low, which is very, very nice. It does a very good chunk of damage. And I think a lot of people just aren't prepared to deal with it. It's still quite rare. Axew is still tough as nails to get a hold of. I've only had a handful myself, and then I've just dumped so much rare candy into this over time. And anytime I've hatched one, I found someone else that has one and traded it lucky to try and get those best IVs that I can. But like I say, I think if you're going to run it, as long as it's pretty good IVs, don't worry about it being a 100%. I think it's worth building. Anyway, you're going to get fantastic use out of it all the same. As long as it's relatively up there, it's going to win all the same matchups. It's still going to shut down Metagross. It's still going to mess up any steel types that it runs into, any ice types that it runs into, and it's still going to lose just as hard to Charmers. So don't get too wrapped up in it. Now, Metagross is not a good save swap against Haxorus. The counters hit for neutral. These Night Slashers hit for super effective. Watch this, bang! Absolutely massive damage. And the good thing about this is the Metagross lets the Night Slash through. You can just shield up, you can shield this up now, and you can just farm it down. All you need are the counters and one Night Slash to take out a Metagross, which is absolutely amazing. And it is worth going down a shield because that energy is going to come in useful. We know they've got at least one Pokemon left on the team that's weak to Haxorus, and that's the Excadril. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to throw the Dragon Claw, get some chip damage on this Gyarados, then swap out to our Snorlax and tempt them to bring out the Excadril, which they do, which means this is great. The Metagross gets to avoid it. They feel like they have to keep the Excadril away from the Haxorus, which again, absolutely brilliant for us. And because we got superpower, we can threaten massive damage on this Excadril. We're not going to throw it straight away, we're going to throw a body slam first if we get a shield, which we do. Since they were up a shield, it seemed worth it. We'd built up to a potential earthquake as well at that point, so the chances that we were throwing a bait move was somewhat low, so it was worth trying it to get a shield. They were almost guaranteed to shield at that point. And then we hit them with the superpower, massive damage. And we're actually going to come in with Metagross here and farm down the Excadril since it was energy dry and get ahead, just to throw a Meteor Mash at this Gyarados. It's already down to roughly half health. A Meteor Mash won't KO here, but it's going to start putting a lot of pressure on, because we don't want to bring in the Haxorus straight away because it will get farmed down by the Dragon Breath and give the Gyarados more energy to dump Aqua Tails and Crunchers into our Metagross. And we're actually pretty much at a Meteor Mash here, so I think this is worth a shield. Yeah, because we can guarantee throwing this Metagross, I think, wins CMP tie against Gyarados. Or maybe it doesn't. I might be wrong on that. Don't quote me on that, I might be wrong. But we decided to bank the Meteor Mash, swap to Haxorus. We had a Dragon Claw banked. We throw it, take out the Gyarados and take the win. GG. Another thing that's quite nice about the Master League Premier Classic is that the meta is so dense. There are only a handful of Pokemon that are strong enough, that have the right moves, that can really compete in this cup. And what that means is that you can very strongly prepare for every lineup and have a plan of action of how to deal with every Pokemon. Now, as you can see, somebody has swapped in a Swampert to Haxorus, which we're very, very glad that they have, because this means that we can keep Metagross away from Swampert. We do know they still have an Excadril, which is also scary, but that means if we can maintain alignment, chances are the third Pokemon isn't a hard Metagross counter, because there just aren't that many. They might have a Gyarados back there, which does pretty well, but Metagross can still put in work. It turns out it's a Snorlax, so Swampert was actually their best answer to Haxorus, and Swampert is not a good answer to Haxorus. It has to land an Earthquake or a Sludge Wave to do neutral damage, and we decide we're going to swap out, drag out the Excadril, because we know Metagross can do pretty well against Snorlax. Yeah, I mean, the lick damage is super effective, but those Meteor Mashers hit like absolute trucks. So we decide to try and bait out the Excadril again with the Snorlax, which is a tactic that works quite often. Excadrils really are scared of Haxorus. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to see the counter damage. And they actually call our superpower with a shield, which is fair enough. We don't mind. We're going to let Snorlax go down, bring in Haxorus and just start smashing away at this thing. But we're going to throw a charge move straight away. We're going to win CMP. We're going to throw this Night Slash, pressure the shield out of them maybe, and they don't shield, and now they bring back in the Snorlax, and as you can see, the counters are chipping away. It's got such versatility, Haxorus. It's got counters for Snorlax and Steel types, Dragon Claw for nice neutral damage in a lot of matchups, or Night Slash to mop up the other Pokemon that it doesn't have neutral damage against. Like I said, unless it gets locked against a Fairy, it's got play. It can do good damage against absolutely everything. It's a fantastic pick. I do recommend building it. I really do. It's not, you don't see many of them, but it is not a spice pick. It is strong. It is very meta relevant, and it really does break a lot of teams that he's seeing right now. As we said, in that team, Haxorus technically beat all three Pokemon, and Snorlax, Excadril and Swampert are all meta choices. So if you're running into that situation, you know it's worthwhile. Able to take a 5-0 in that set, and we took a few 5-0s to be honest with this team so far, and we get a nice shiny Virizion for our hard work and for all the dust and rare candy we spent on the Haxorus, which is nice. I didn't actually get a shiny Virizion when it was last available in raids, so it's nice to have it here, especially with the Sacred Sword. Move. Let's just speed up this catch screen though. I don't know why I've left this in the recording, but you guys don't need to see this mess. I kind of wanted it in a Pokeball just because it matches the colour scheme. But I think I do give up and end up just putting it in an Ultra Ball just to get it caught and crack on with more battles. I was feeling pretty good about the team at this point, so I wanted to get back to battling straight away, and it is a pain that you can't catch the legendaries from Go Battle League a little easier. They do, I think, really need to address that, because some players get stuck, they run out of resources because they're not easy to catch, and if you can't catch it, you can't play more, and that's not really good enough. Now, the rest of the battles here are a bit mixed and matched from all the sets that I've finished up doing and climbing up in the ranking, but a lot of these have got kind of different lineups that I think it's worth showing you guys how we play our way around different matchups. This opponent actually swaps into a Surfetched, which Surfetched has got some interesting play because it's got counter and Night Slash, which again is very similar to Haxorus. It's not got the same stat product, can't really keep up with the big boys, but it's got some interesting play there for sure. We just decided to throw the Dragon Claw, either get a shield or get it really low, and once that went through we knew we could farm down with Metagross, get an energy advantage to then threaten the Excadril with an Earthquake, force a shield out of him, which is nice. The Excadril is going to throw a draw run here. We're happy to let that go through. We can bring Haxorus in here and start chipping away with that counter damage again. We can actually let this move go through. You can survive one drill run from an Excadril, but we're going to shield up since we've got the shield to burn. And it's a good thing we did because they've got a Machamp in the back and Snorlax does not want to see this thing. So we're just going to stay in with Haxorus. We're a little bit ahead on energy, so we can get to another Dragon Claw and that will take out this Shadow Machamp. And then Snorlax is bulky enough to survive long enough to make it to a superpower that will definitely KO the Excadril. So we're still looking pretty good in this matchup. But you'll find, like I said, a lot of times Haxorus is your main source of damage for most things on an opponent's team. And it is worth preserving if you've got the shields. Obviously, if you know it's going to be locked against a Charmer, don't bother. But other than that, I always find it's worth shielding Haxorus in a lot of situations. You're going to find that there are a lot of battles here that actually have Excadril leads, and like I said, I just ran into lots of them, but a lot of them have different safe swaps, different Pokemon in the back, so I do think it's just worth showing for your guys' sake if you wanted to learn how to deal and how to play this team. Now, Empoleon. Empoleon's a pretty unusual pick in the Master League. It does have some interesting play. It struggles with Haxorus because Haxorus is resisting the water damage, the counter's super effective, and Empoleon doesn't really have the stat product to actually keep up that well, but it does have good play against, I think, against Gyarados. It has good play against Togekiss. It has good play against Metagross because the Meteor Mash and the Bullet Punches are double resisted, which is underrated to be that resistant to Metagross, but obviously the Earthquake would still one-shot. Now, the way I like to play Gyarados safe swaps is I like to throw a Dragon Claw first with the Haxorus and then swap to Snorlax. Not many Gyaradoses at all will shield that Dragon Claw. It does a good chunk, but it does less than half, and I think they feel comfortable surviving it. But what that means is if you then bring in Snorlax, is that you can put a lot of pressure on to control switch advantage. Because the lick damage starts adding up, the body slams put them in like dangerous range. So if they safe swap in a Gyarados, even though if the Dragon Breath, you're gonna take quite a bit of damage getting to that first Dragon Claw, but I always go to that Dragon Claw and throw it. If you run into a Gyarados lead, which I have not seen very many of, but most Gyarados leads I've seen are actually Aqua Tail, and that's worth staying in with Haxorus against. Because you get to those Dragon Claws, you're resisting the waterfalls, you resist the Aqua Tail. Crunch does a good chunk, but you outpace them so heavily if they've got waterfall because their energy generation is trash. So, Gyarados safe swap, throw a Dragon Claw, swap to Snorlax, start throwing body slams. If they let a body slam through, so they've let both a Dragon Claw and a body slam through, you can farm down with Lick. And unless they throw Crunch and get the defense drop, you don't have to shield the Snorlax, and you can win that matchup with a bit of health and probably enough energy for a superpower against a potential Excadril or something like that, which is a very nice position to be in. Now, this Empoleon might double resist Meteor Mash, but it's going to have to shield. It's got no health left, and we've still got a shield. We can just farm it down with the Haxorus and take that win. GG. And GG to all these opponents. I'm talking a little bit more generally over a lot of these matchups, but all these opponents were fantastic, great games, great teams they've brought. And here we've got the Haxorus mirror match. Now, this is a very scary lead actually for this team, and we actually tried to sneak through a counter, and we do when they throw, which is, it puts us in a very strong position because we can shield. We're going to throw Dragon Claws. We're not here to bait shields. Now, they actually catch a Dragon Claw on their Snorlax, and this is fine. This was a nice bit of chip damage to its Shadow Snorlax. So we're going to stay in here and do some serious work, build up to another Dragon Claw before we throw. And this means we're going to now bank this Dragon Claw, swap out to our own Snorlax, and this means we've got that ready to throw at their Haxorus when it comes back in. We're hoping to farm down this Snorlax and then have energy to dump into their Haxorus when it comes back in. We might eat a superpower here. This is going to do big damage. If it is, maybe it's a body slam. It is just a body slam. That's fantastic. A superpower would have done massive damage to us there. Haxorus comes in. He's pressured to throw straight away because he knows we've got energy. We don't have to shield. The counters are the main source of damage against the Snorlax. With Haxorus, we're quite bulky. We're not Shadow, so it's definitely not going to hit hard enough to take us out. We're going to get to this body slam. I think we can farm down. We got Metagross in the back. And this isn't as good as it seems because I think we're down a shield still, yeah. So we're going to swap straight out to our Metagross and go straight for Meteor Mash. We don't need to try and land an Earthquake. We don't need to try and bait an Earthquake. This Metagross is getting pretty low and they throw an Earthquake, which is an absolute lifesaver because this guarantees that we can get 2 shields. They debated us with Meteor Mash. I think they had a Bullet Punch or 2 advantage on us. They might have made it to the Earthquake before we got 2 Meteor Mashes off and got those shields, which would have been a little scary. Now, depending how they play this, they can build up extra energy because they know we're dry, and then it's can Haxorus farm down before they get to a Meteor Mash. Meteor Mash will absolutely annihilate. Haxorus here is pretty squishy. Well, we've got the energy. What am I talking about? We banked that energy in the Snorlax matchup early on. We were ready for this. Throw the Night Slash, take it out, and we're going to take that win. GG. Really, the main thing you're looking to do with this team is you're looking to catch a Metagross counter or a Snorlax counter on the lead and deal with them or get shields with Haxorus. So here we've got a Swampert lead, and again, this is a pretty good matchup for Haxorus. Here they only built it to a Hydro Cannon. We don't have to shield. We're Dragon type. We resist this. It does a good chunk, but it doesn't quite do half. So we're really not feeling much pressure here. We build up to 2 Dragon Claws. We're going to throw 1, see what they decide to do. I think they can let this through. They are going to. And we do. It was a CMP tie. I think we can let this go, yeah. And then we can throw a Night Slash because there's no need to throw the Dragon Claw. The Dragon Claw, in situations where they're both going to hit for neutral, the Dragon Claw hits slightly harder. It does have stab, but Night Slash does have the potential to give you the boost. If you're just looking for the damage, you might as well go for the Dragon Claw. I would say anyway, because there's quite a few situations where people just don't shield the charge move, and I think the extra damage can go a long way in some situations. Now, because they brought in a Togekiss, we figured they were going to, we figured it was worth just letting Haxorus go down instead of, say, swapping to Snorlax and seeing what we drag out, and just seeing what work Metagross can put in the back, because there's a good chance that both Pokemon in the back were weak to Metagross anyway, because they had a Swampert lead, which is pretty much there just to take out Metagross. So the fact that we actually did take out the Swampert means Metagross was very free to run around. It can put in good work against both Dragonite and Togekiss. This Snorlax has so much energy right now to spam at this Togekiss, get a couple of body slams off, and at this point the damage is pretty much done. Not much this opponent can do. We've still got 2 shields. They got nothing but the Togekiss left. We can just farm them down. We could probably survive a Flamethrower still and take them out, but let's not gamble. It is just an Aerial Ace, but we're not here to play games. We're going for climbing. We're going for Legend rank. We're going to shield up and we're going to take that win. GG. Okay, so next matchup. This one is going to be another Excadril lead, but this is going to be with a different save swap, and this trainer is going to save swap Dragonite. And we approach Dragonite the same way that we approach Gyarados. At least we're going to throw the Dragon Claw. This does big damage, doesn't one-shot, but does big damage if they let it through. We can see that. It does about 50%, I would say. And then we're going to swap out to Metagross, because Metagross can survive any move from this range and can still farm down and have energy to throw whatever comes back in. We know they've got Excadril, so we're kind of happy just to sack Metagross at this point. And even if the Dragonite is there to bait out a Metagross because they've got a Togekiss in the back, we know Snorlax can do very well in that matchup. Anyway, now this trainer actually has a Garchomp in the back. It's a little scary, but they do let a Meteor Mash go through. We're going to get to a second one. We did farm up a lot of energy, on that Dragonite. Now we are going to get farmed down with Dragon Tail, which is kind of scary, but again, we have Snorlax, which is a giant sponge. We're not going to shield the first move, because even if it's Outrage, it won't take us out. It's actually an Earth Power, does about 40%, 45%, and we farm down. I think they should have got to another move there, I'm not sure, But either way, we're going to throw a superpower at this Excadril, then swap out straight to Haxorus, start chipping down with the counter. They let the superpower through. They were kind of pressured to let it through because they were down a shield already, but we were in a very dominant position in that matchup. But GG. Okay, so the reason that we actually throw a Dragon Claw against Dragonite and Gyarados say swaps is because both of those Pokemon can beat both of ours in the back, especially if it's like a best buddy Dragonite or something like that. It can commit its shields and really push against Metagross. So the main thing we're doing is getting a shield or getting a chunk of damage to put you ahead, to put you in a much stronger position to actually win this secondary matchup. Because especially against something like an Excadril lead, getting switch advantage is very important. Now this trainer actually catches a Dragon Claw on their Gyarados, and it's an Outrage Gyarados, which does hit for a nice chunk of damage. And we realise they're going to get to an Aqua Tail, so we're going to throw a Body Slam, make them shield first if they do want to get off another move. They don't. But the fact that they caught a Dragon Claw on Gyarados isn't a problem for us because we'd have thrown it at the Gyarados anyway before swapping out. So it worked out very well in our favour. We get a shield with the superpower, which is really nice. I think it's still worth bringing in Haxorus. You could make an argument for bringing in Metagross here and seeing if they try and bait with Avalanche. But I've got a feeling that whatever's in back might be strong against Haxorus anyway. It might have a Fairy, might have Togekiss or something. So we actually got to catch the Avalanche on Metagross, which we do, which is fantastic. And they've got their own Metagross in the back. And we're going to go straight for the Earthquake here, I think. Nope, we're going to build. Okay, we're going to build up and then shield bait. That's fine. A good thing about this position, they actually call the bait, which is kind of scary. We're going to shield up and Meteor Mash ourselves, but also this means that we can build this Meteor Mash. I think this means they can build up extra energy. This is quite high risk actually. They could build up enough energy and maybe beat Haxorus to a move and KO with a Meteor Mash there as well. It's going to be very, very close. I think the win con was definitely just to go straight for... Oh, we've got energy already. Okay. That was very, very close, but if we didn't have that energy already banked, we might not have made that. But the safer play was definitely to go for double Earthquake, I would say, just to guarantee getting a shield or KOing the Metagross. But GG all the same. Okay, now let's take a look at a bit of an awkward lead, and that's going to be Garchomp, especially Dragon Tail Garchomp. Look at that, it absolutely smashes Haxorus to pieces. What we do is we dash to the Dragon Claw, throw it as soon as we get it, and then swap to Snorlax. And we get the shield, which is fantastic, does a huge chunk of damage. We know this is only a Sand Tomb, because if a Garchomp throws 5 Dragon Tails, it only has energy for a Sand Tomb, so we don't bother shielding. They bring in a Togekiss, which is fine by me. We know we're probably going to lose this matchup against the Togekiss, because with the defense drop as well, those charms are really starting to chunk away. That's fine. I think we're going to... Well, we can't bring in Haxorus into this thing, no matter how little health it's got. So we're going to bring in Metagross, farm this Togekiss down, and then see what work we can do. The good thing about Garchomp with Dragon Tail is that there's no fast move pressure on Metagross, and there isn't usually even from the Mud Shot, but with Mud Shot they can spam Sand Tombs a lot faster or threaten with Earth Powers a lot faster, and it gets a lot scarier. But here we know that they're probably just going to throw Sand Tomb at us, if anything, so we don't have to really shield, and they have to shield this Meteor Mash or it would annihilate them. So we're going to let this go. We're pretty sure it's another Sand Tomb, which it is. If they get to another Sand Tomb, we probably would shield. We decided to swap aggressively into Haxorus just to clear that debuff though, so that the Dragon Tails add up a little less. And they've actually got a Gyarados in the back. So I think it's questionable that they didn't bring this into the Metagross straight away rather than the Garchomp, but we're going to take advantage. We're going to make it to 2 Dragon Claws because this is a Waterfall Gyarados, and now we can actually farm this down. I think we shield up this move, farm down with Bullet Punch, get to a Meteor Mash and take out the Garchomp. Should work out pretty well. The Garchomp shouldn't have the energy. No, we're going to get to this, we're going to take them out, and this is going to be a good game. So even in a bad lead, able to take a win there, and I do class Garchomp with Dragon Tail as a bad lead. And it could have gone even worse because they had Togekiss as well to line up with Haxorus, but somehow we're able to pull that one out. Up against Kento PvP now, and we pull a Dragonite lead. Against a Dragonite lead, you want to swap straight away. We're not building up to the Dragon Claw, we're going to swap straight away to Snorlax and see what we bait out. And here comes Excadril. And the amount of times that you will bait out an Excadril with this Snorlax safe swap, if they have something like a dragon in the lead, is absolutely nuts. And it's crazy because Snorlax can do very well in this matchup. You can survive 2 drill runs if your IVs are good enough. The mud shots aren't threatening to take you out, so we're going to go for a body slam and then potentially go for 2 superpowers. We don't get a shield with the first body slam, which is absolutely awful for us. So we're going to throw a superpower straight away after. So they want to do. They do shield up, so this opponent is calling all the right moves right now. We're going to make it to 1 more body slam. Is this going to take out the... It's not going to take out the Excadril, but we're going to get a shield. We get 2 shields. That's absolutely fantastic. We're going to bring in Haxorus. We're not going to shield this up. We're going to let this go. And we're going to assume that 2 shielded Metagross can probably just sweep everything left in this game. I think we let this go as well. Yep. 2 shielded Metagross. The opponent has to have something pretty bad for us to take us out here. They've got a Waterfall Gyarados that is actually pretty bad for us. We might still lose this game. Waterfall Gyarados does very well against Metagross. Maybe we should have shielded the Haxorus at least once. It's hard to say, but then they could have farmed down with the Dragonite. Anyway, that Meteor Mash is going to do big damage though. Okay, we shield this up. We build up extra energy to get to a Meteor Mash against the Dragonite as well, and hopefully we take them both out. This is going to be close. This requires good energy management. I don't remember if we win this game or not. We take out the Gyarados. What's going to come in? It's the Dragonite's got too much health. A Meteor Mash doesn't one-shot. It does a lot of damage, but it doesn't one-shot. So this Dragonite's going to have to take us out, and that's going to be a good game. Now, I do still in general think that safe swapping Snorlax straight away against a Dragonite lead is the right call. The opponent did very well in calling the body slam bait and then shielding up the superpower. If we'd have flipped that middle game, we'd have been in a much stronger position for the end game. But they just made the right calls. And good on them for nailing it. Fantastic call, well read on their part. Now Shadow Metagross, same as regular Metagross, fantastic lead for Haxorus. I do recommend you throw 1 or 2 counters extra before you throw the Night Slash against a Metagross lead, just because there's a good chance they'll try and catch your Night Slash on something else, and they're able to throw a Dragon Claw at this Dragonite, which does good damage. We can do the same tactic as before, swap out to Metagross, farm down completely, we know we can take any move, and now we're in a very strong position because we've got such an energy advantage. The Metagross would be scared of being one-shot if it did come back in. Here a Gyarados with Waterfall comes in to farm us down. But we've got nearly 2 Meteor Mashes here, and this is going to do monstrous damage overall. We're able to get both of them off. And the Gyarados probably needs to shield this. They're not going to. They're going to put it all onto their own Metagross to try and sweep this matchup. We're going to bring in Snorlax again. Damage Sponge can absorb any of these charge moves. And then we know we've got Haxorus and the shields to deal with the Metagross in the back. Now, there is a chance of us getting farmed down with Bullet Punch here just because the shadow damage is so oppressive. But we're going to get at least 2 Night Slashes off here. And this is going to do big damage. We did get a shield out of them there. That wasn't... it was just a visual glitch. We're actually going to let this go now. And with 1 shield advantage, we think that Snorlax can actually take this matchup. Instead, because it's shadow, the lick damage is doing even more. And we can just double shield and just farm down completely with the fast move. I'm going to throw the body slams just in case, because if we get to 2, this will take them out anyway. So we get the shield, but we're going to get to 1 more and finish them off. We actually just farm down completely. We've got energy to throw at their last Pokemon. I think it was a bit of the Dragonite. I forget. Whatever Pokemon they had left, we had energy to jump into them to take them out. GG! And with that is where I'm actually going to leave this video. One lead I haven't spoken about is Togekiss lead. And you just want to safe swap into Snorlax and see what they choose to do. A lot of Togekiss leads stay in against Snorlax, which is really surprising when you've got a lead like Haxorus. But I've found a lot of Togekisses stay in, and you can just put in a lot of work with the body slams, chip them down a lot. And if they do swap out and you manage to take switch advantage, it's worth taking that switch advantage at all costs, and then getting Metagross locked on the Togekiss. But If you do lose switch advantage, you go into a helpless situation with the Snorlax save swap, then save both shields for Metagross and hope Metagross can sweep in the back. But again, some lineups you just can't win against, so it's worth waiting and seeing. So if you've watched this far, thank you so much. Why not hit the like button or the subscribe button, or both? Helps me out massively. And let me know how you guys are getting on. Are you playing Open Master League? Are you playing the Master Premier Classic? Are you playing the Kanto Cup? Let me know down below on how you're getting on, and if you've got any interesting teams and spice picks that you're going for. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.